from Porto Princesa, over in Palawan, one of the islands belonging to Los Philippines. We are, of course, here with the 62nd edition of Grand Platypus Open, number 62. I'm, of course, your host, Yaku of Dizaku, and with me today is El Príncipe de Persia, que crea inercia, Light_VIP. How we doing, Light?
Whoa, what's up, Yaku? We're here. We are back after a short 2-hour break with plenty more StarCraft available tonight. Mate, hey, we're here. We're kicking things off with a ZVP.
As we like to do. In the top left-hand corner map, starting all the way to the top left-hand corner of Romanticide LE. One of them old maps, but I got some insight. We may not be seeing old maps as the series progresses. We have the pink Protoss player coming down from Hong Kong. He is the stork himself. He's stroking his beef. He is Bistork.
And spawning in the bottom right-hand corner of Romanticide LE, going for a pool first. We have the Australian Zerg player. He is blue, representing Downfall Gaming. The FG. It is Oreo.
Now, you don't normally see Oreo going pool first, unless he has something very specific in mind.
Yeah, that's what I'm curious about, because typically he is more of a macro-oriented player, but in this matchup, I'm... Hey, I don't... What?
Oreo... No, wait, that's Oreo... Not... Never mind.
Cut. What's up, Yaku?
We are here with the 62nd GPO.
Oh god. Look, we've been here for 61 weeks. It taxes away at the brain a little bit, you know what I mean?
No, it's every week.
Every week.
It's more and more.
Mate. I was just in a 6-hour cast, mate. I was just...
You thought I was here to save you. I could carry you.
No.
You didn't realize I would drag you further down to chaos.
Exactly.
Oh, no, I'm pretty sure you did know that. That's why you were dreading this cast.
Yeah, I knew where this was going, mate. I could see it a mile away. And that's where we're headed right down into insanity, mate. Oh, God.
Much like Oreo Zerglings, which should be able to... There is a Zell in the way. I actually almost didn't see that. Very well hidden. But it might be getting surrounded. Very delicate dance we're playing, but Oreo does not want to take his chances there. He would rather play it safe.
Again, going for a pool first like this, obviously it makes sure that you don't get caught off guard by something like a cannon rush. Of course, Bistork, he has done that in the past. And it also forces your opponent to be a little bit more defensive. You know, it does delay a couple of things, forces the Zealot out.
And so it's not exactly the most useful unit in the world in the PvZ this early.
Exactly. Later on, though, mate, they're pretty good.
Oh, yeah. That turns definitely table.
You're telling me, man. I'm a Terran player. Like, I know.
Yeah.
Oh, God.
What do you mean my tanks don't kill them? What do you mean they can, like, jump on top of my tanks?
It's okay. They got nerfed. They don't deal damage when they charge onto you. It's fine.
Yeah. Yeah, it's fine. You can kite them now. Oh, wait.
Oh, God. But
I am about 2 years too late to make that joke.
Mate, isn't that crazy? It's been 2 years. Like, it's still, to me, it feels like it's a new patch. Like that patch. Like, that's like a new update, you know? Like...
Oh, I'm definitely with you there. To me, it's like this Void Ray stuff is like the freshest of freshest things that have been coming down, even though it's months old at this point.
Mate,
and then the charge patch is like just 2 patches ago is how it feels.
I think it was the same patch.
Quite a while
mate,
off.
Do you remember when like Queen range was nerfed? Remember that?
Oh yeah, that happened.
Of course. I think it was the same patch as the charge nerf. I could be wrong, but...
I'm pretty sure it was.
Oh, God.
Man, the times we live in.
Yeah, feels bad, man. How times have changed. Meanwhile, you know, we did of course have
2018.
Take me back to
2017.
2014, man. Take me back.
Yeah.
remember
I want to be
when
living in a time before I knew what this game was.
Remember when infestors could throw down infested Terran? Remember that? Remember when
Oh shit, they could do that.
Yeah. Microbial Shroud still feels like a new ability. It still feels like one of those things where, you know, one of these days, like, players are finally going to get around to using it, and then we'll see it, like, really pop off.
Yeah, it still feels like Rogue is like, this guy, he's like crazy. He's just like doing whatever. That's why he's like not a top player. And it's like, oh wait, he is though.
He is
With Microbial Shroud.
Oh god, sometimes. But something that is interesting is that Bistork, he is doing what we would expect any Protoss player to be doing right now, and he's going double Stargate Void Ray.
Pumping them out. He is, or is he? I was gonna say he's working on transition because he's grabbing that row facility, but that could just be for observers, couldn't it? I doubt he's gonna get too many Immortals or Warp Prisms coming out with this.
I mean, we'll see what he decides to go for. Again, it's one of those things where for a while the meta was for the Protoss players to go double Stargate Void Ray, and then you go into like Charge with +1, and then you go into Storm, right? And then we saw the popular Disruptors come into play instead, like as an alternative route. So we could see that as well from Bistork, but we see the Forge on the way. Like, that's...
We know what he's gonna go for. Yeah, Robobait not likely in the line of production right now for Bistork. Gonna be focusing a lot more of, as you said, more of a charge-oriented transition, I imagine. But he ain't getting upgrades. When he getting upgrades?
Yeah, like does he have a Twilight Council? He does.
I don't think he does. I don't think
Yeah.
he's figured down yet. Yeah, that would explain that. But we do in fact get the answer. Robobait is on the way, and so is the Nidus Storm coming out for Oreo. What is the vision looking like right now? Oreo's just going to use it to reinforce. He's sending everything across the map. But the Queen, so many of them are trapped in stasis, and those have pretty high energy on them.
I mean, stasis is about to run out pretty soon, so Oreo can still go for this push. But as we were saying, this is scary because you know what? Disruptors are actually pretty good defensively against Queens and Roach pushes. But thankfully for Oreo, it's honestly pretty delayed. Like, this should have been done by now. We should already have a couple of Disruptors out if that was Bistork's original plan.
Which is why it really might not be. He's trying to buy himself as much time as he can right now, and it's kind of succeeding. The Nidus Worm has already been thrown down, so it's going to be a lot easier for Oreo to start reinforcing this point across the map. We'll see. One Disruptor is on the way, Light, but what is a single Purification Nova going to do? Remember, it takes 2 Novas to take out Queens.
Exactly.
I don't remember how many it takes to take out Ravages.
1.
1, and 1 to take out Ravages.
Exactly, as the Stasis Ward, the initial Stasis Ward does go off. Oh, the Biles are looking to land. They do get one of the Void Rays, but you know what? The Disruptor is out.
It very much is. It's so important that these Ravagers are in stasis right now. So that Oreo has so much less firepower. Again, Bistork is buying himself as much time as he can to get as many Purification Novas out. He needs to keep that Disruptor alive, but he's sending it forward. I think it's getting low. The Zerglings are on top of it, and it gets taken out. And with it, so does Bistork's chances in this game.
Exactly.
Potentially super batteries there.
The Lings did get on top of it. Meanwhile, the Biles are trying to land on the super battery, and it looks like the battery will fall. But you know what? Bistork has bought a lot of time, enough time for the second Disruptor to come out.
And it should clean out. Oh, wow, that was whiffed. That was super whiffed.
It definitely was.
Taking out the Ravages there.
Yeah, but you know what? The Queens are starting to run low. Like, they do not have enough energy for more additional transfuses. The Nidus does come up, and Oreo, he's trying to reinforce. But again, he hasn't dealt any economic damage whatsoever, and he does retreat.
Indeed, he does. Has to back all the way away. And when it's all said and done, Bistork loses the Disruptor and a couple of Void Rays. That is not... Those aren't exactly the most expensive units out here for Protoss.
Yeah, especially if you look at the units lost. Like, Oreo invested a lot there, and Oreo was looking to kill his opponent. That stasis in the beginning was huge. As you said, that was like half the Ravagers that were kind of stuck, not doing anything whatsoever. So much DPS was lost there, and now Bistork, he's expanding, he's taking it forward.
Expanding.
Yeah, why not? He's trying to. If it
He's trying to.
here.
The creep is, yeah. He's waving his fist over at Oreo right now. This creep.
Oh god, exactly. Thankfully, I mean, I say thankfully, I mean, Oreo's doing the exact same thing. He's double expanding right now. Like he was
I
not
feel like
ready.
He kind of has to at this point.
Of course, it's either double expand or go for another all in, and I don't see that working.
But we'll see if the double expand does work out for him. As Bistork, he's transitioning brilliantly. Fleet Beacon's already about to be finished up. The Templar Archives is done. And Charge is well on the way. Charged Archon, I don't know how many times I could say this, but very potent unit composition you can go for as a Protoss player. Throw in a couple of Disruptors, and that is a dead Zerg army. Especially when the Zerg player doesn't go for any Banelings. He's going for it now.
Especially when all you're doing is right now, that's like a supportive unit to buy time for the carriers, right? Like that's all you care about. Ideally, you want that Sky Toss, and there we go. We do have the first carrier on the way. Only 2 Stargates. Meanwhile, oh, there is a bit of a Zealot run by. Thankfully, there are Roaches here to defend, so Oreo will hold on to his fringe base.
Indeed, he will. Not taking too many losses over there, but Bistork just distracts Oreo a bit more. Oreo was looking to get some harassment done over in this base before these shield batteries and these cannons could get up, but yeah, he was forced to sort of regroup a little bit because he didn't know how many Zealots were there until the end.
Yeah, exactly. And what's scary, actually, something I was a little bit concerned because I saw all those High Templar. I'm like, yo, is Storm done? Storm has not even started. But we do see the High Templar are morphing into those Archons. Oh, the Lynx are trying to get on top of the Disruptors.
And the Lynx do get on top of the Disruptors, and they will be taking out these Purification Novas. The Archons get completely surrounded, and Oreo has turned a tough situation into a, what's the opposite of tough here, like tender beef.
What?
Something.
Exactly.
Look at that army supply.
Mate, it's juicy, it's tender. Oreo will be able to take out this base, and the big question is, does he not have enough anti-air to really contend against these Void Rays? Ooh, a Void Ray does get picked up, and you know what? There's only 1 carrier.
There is 2 now, but even still, not as many interceptors as he really should have at this point. He's trying to hold on top of this ramp, and actually a lot of the units right now of Oreo just cannot fire on what they need to. But of course, Biles is still an option, and a lot of infrastructure damage is being dealt. Not enough reliable anti-air, as you said. The Queens are running a little bit low on energy, but here come a couple of reinforcements full of transfuse.
Yeah, exactly. Not just that, but even the Biles are coming into play, forcing the Void Rays and the carriers back, buying Oreo a little bit more time to gather that energy for those transfuses. And I mean, Oreo, he's already done a lot of damage. He was able to take out a base, and he's looking like he wants to take down another.
Trying to anyway. Probes are finally starting to fall, but not for too much longer. These Zealots, man, they're the real MVPs. Holding the line, keeping back the waves of Zerg. And I think Bistork might be able to hold again. Remember, he has another base towards the north. Oh, yeah. So losing that base earlier on was not terrible for him. Bistork holds.
Yeah, he does hold once again.
Oreo was over twice the army supply for a while.
I mean, the army supply doesn't matter when you only have like 7 queens, and that's your anti-air. Like,
yeah.
Again, a lot of that supply was Roach Ravager Ling, and he was almost able to break through the ground, but at the end of the day, you know what? All the carriers survived, and now we have 3 carriers moving out on the map. And what is the anti-air looking like? We got plenty of Vipers, which is great and all, and you can power bomb, I guess, but what he really needs are these Corruptors.
He's trying to get them out as much as he can. I gotta say, 7 Corruptors, that does not seem to be enough to one-shot carriers.
Oh, God, no.
Just a little too little.
Yeah, but to be fair, again, the Vipers are, like, they do really come into play. Being able to abduct and focus down a carrier one at a time, or even using power bombs on the Void Rays, like, they are going to be key here in the defense, especially because there aren't any High Templar here to stop them, to feedback them.
If the defense happens, as of right now, Bistork, he's just looking to do Protoss things, you know, get comfortable on 5 bases, which is a little bit more than what is optimal, but, you know, it's better to have to be mining the resources than not.
Yeah,
if you can hold on, if you can hold it.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure Bistork he is comfortable on 4 bases, fully saturated, but you do eventually need to work on getting a 5th, and if you can hold it, why not, right? Especially if there's nothing stopping you. Meanwhile, we do see he is being a little bit aggressive here, pushing out onto creep, and again, what is the army really looking like for Oreo right now? Oh my god, a Zealot run by here to the south.
Absolutely massive. To the south, to the southerner south. The main base and the third base, that's what I meant. And if he takes out the Spire, that is going to be it for Oreo. That is the vast majority of his anti-air. +1 fly weapons is not even going to be finishing up. This Parabomb, Bistork doesn't even care. He's sending that Void Ray back into the main army.
Yeah, he doesn't care whatsoever. I mean, the power bombs are nice. They are softening up the army, and there we go. The Corruptors are going to be able to go in. They take down every single carrier. But now, what about the ground army?
That's the thing, and this ground army has a lot of Archons in it. The last thing you want to see when you're going for Corruptors. I believe the Spire went down. No more anti-air. Oreo calls it GG. Bistork taking game number 1 on Romanticide.
GG.
Really good holds from him twice.
GG, well played. I mean, Oreo, he like the pushes looked really strong, but again, like there were a lot of things that came into play there. You know, the stasis wars, the overcharge, Bistork being very, very careful with his army movements and making sure he never overextended and made sure he was safe with shield batteries.
Which is not something I thought I'd say about Bistork.
Mate.
He's being careful with his army.
Yeah, this day and age, the current meta, man, this is what they're doing to our beloved players. How dare they?
ever since that charge patch came down.
What? Oh god.
Just a week ago.
I mean, to be fair, when it comes to Bistork, we've been talking about this for a couple of weeks now. We were talking about how, again, the difference between the Bistork of old, where he used to be like hyper aggressive and all this stuff, and the current Bistork, where he is playing a little bit more meta, a little bit more, you know, how the other Protoss players are playing, and it's something that we're not used to. And every now and then we see a glimpse of that Bistork of old, and he does come out with like, you know, a cannon rush or some hyper aggressive build, but not as often as we're used to.
Yeah, it's a treat to see it nowadays. It used to be something where whenever we cast a Bistork, we're like, all right, let's get ready. We are going to get a bulletin board out, you know, our clipboards, calculators, try to figure out what's he going to do this time. Almost Mio Micah-esque, but yeah, now not so much. It's definitely a treat, especially when we go into a new map.
Oh, I cannot wait. It looks like Oreo's map pick is here, and it is, of course, the shortest rush distance map in the map pool. Move aside
Even
submarine.
shorter than submarine. Yeah. Exactly. We don't need you anymore. We've lived in the LE submarine for too long.
Now we're in Beckett Industries.
Yeah, Beckett.
Who is Beckett?
Apparently, it's a real thing.
Like David
Beckett
Beckett?
Industries is apparently a real company.
Are we gonna get sued?
Measle is telling me. Potentially.
Oh god.
It's like a consultation company or something like that. We'll figure out. As we continue our series here on Beckett Industries LE. Here in the top right-hand corner of the map, starting all the way in the top right-hand corner, the pink Protoss player. Coming out from the land of Hong Kong, he is the best Protoss player to come out of Hong Kong. Representing himself as he's currently teamless, he is the juicy Bistork.
And spawning in the bottom left-hand corner of Beckett Industries LE, going for a 12 pool this time, much faster than the previous pool first we saw in game number 1. We have the Australian Zerg player. He is blue. He is representing Downfall Gaming, the FG. It is Oreo.
Did somebody say there are speed zones in the rush path on this map?
Yes.
Oreo heard it. Looking to take absolute advantage of that. There is a reason why, you know, 12 pushes can hit at least 2 seconds faster on this map compared to Submarine.
They can. But what is important is that Bistork did go for a probe scout, so Bistork, he is well aware of the 12 pool. He knows about it, and he's immediately attempting to wall off and going to, I imagine, chrono out his zealot. The real question is, how committed is Oreo going to be? And again, like, some of these buildings could be a little bit exposed, and he could maybe make something happen.
I would love to see Oreo be a little bit more dedicated here. Maybe even send a worker in to try to do that solar build of old, but that's not typically how Oreo likes to go. He's gonna get in before the zealot comes out.
Wow.
Worst case scenario for Bistork. This is not even a big commitment. Oreo went for 8 lings, and now he's starting to drone up.
Mate, this 2 seconds means the world on a map like this. In a game like StarCraft, as the pylon, exactly, the pylon goes down, the lings are taking down the probes, and even if all these lings go down, the damage has been done. GG gets called.
2-second game coming out from that 2-second rush distance. Okay, it was 2 minutes. But still, it feels like 2 seconds.
Yep. GG, well played. The power of 12 pool on Beckett Industries. Ugh. Protoss.
Oh my god. This is gonna be the new Everdream. Everybody thought that Submarine was gonna be new Everdream, but somehow Submarine ended up with a lot of split map scenarios. Nah, man. We have an actual successor now.
Exactly. This is something, again, to be as a reminder to everyone who may not be too familiar with it, the map pool is less than a week old, and this is something that Protoss players are going to have to adapt to. The 12 pool on Beckett Industries, being able to time things up and actually get that wall up and running faster, maybe even have a probe on the low ground to wall off.
I wonder if that old solar style where you mineral walk a single drone just so you can have a little bit more surface area on the walling zealot. I wonder if that's gonna make a comeback.
It could.
Thanks to this map.
To be fair, that was like a 2-base ling all in.
It was, but you know.
Yeah, we could see variants of that return. It's quite possible. Oh boy.
This is why I'm glad I don't play Protoss. And then there are times where I'm looking at the Skytoss and I'm like, man, I wish I played Protoss. But no, this is the number one reason keeping me away. Anyway, we are going to be concluding this series tied up 1-1 on Oxide LE. Here in the bottom left-hand corner map, starting all the way in the bottom left-hand corner of the map, we have the pink Protoss player coming down from the land of Hong Kong. He is gonna be stroking his beef. He is Bistork.
And spawning in the top right hand corner of Oxide LE, we have the Australian Zerg player. He is blue, representing Downfall Gaming, the FG, making his opponent say uh-oh in game number 2.
Yeah.
It is Oreo.
And for the first time today, going for a hatch first.
Yeah, what a madman.
My god, what's he gonna do?
Playing a little bit more standard here, and I mean, we are on Oxide. As we have seen in the previous games, Oreo is not the kind of player to lay back and take it to the late game against Skytoss. Oh my god.
If it gets to Skytoss, because that is a forge coming down from Bistork. And this should not be a cannon rush. I feel like it's a little too late for that, but is it?
Yeah, it's a gate forge, yeah.
All right.
Boy, so again, the Gate Forge is a version of the Cannon Rush that is obviously less committed. You still can commit to this, and you can force a lot of damage to be done, but because you went Gateway first, it means the transition out of it is a lot easier.
I tell you what's a good thing about having that Forge early on, like, you get +1 weapons, you get some charge slots, that's it.
That's it, mate.
And Oreo let it finish. He let the hatchery finish light.
Interesting decision there. We do have 3 cannons on the way, but that is it, especially because the creep is starting to cover up the rest of the area, so no more buildings can be thrown down. We do see, Oreo is looking to go potentially into a third base
but
here.
He doesn't have the resources because he let that hatch finish.
Yeah. We'll see what happens there. The Lings are coming out. The Queen is on the way, but the Lings are focusing on dealing with this probe and the pylon to get a third up.
What he absolutely needs right now. Man, already a very rough start coming down from Oreo.
Yeah, especially if he loses this base, and it looks like he will. Like, the Queen is going to come out, but he's just giving it up.
Pretty much.
Wow.
Do you think he... Because the way I'm looking at this, I'm like, Oreo was like a second off hitting that escape key or something, but I don't know, maybe he did have an idea?
So,
Try to maybe mind game Bistork?
I think he was. I think because, again, I don't know if you saw, but there were a couple of cancels going on there. Maybe he didn't think that Bistork would commit as hard as he did. Maybe miscalculated a little bit there. I don't think it was like a misclick where he accidentally allowed it to finish. But yeah,
more of a miscalculation, I suppose.
Yeah. I definitely think so, because losing that hatchery like that for free, it hurts.
Unless it makes Bistork feel more comfortable than he should. But I don't think he will. He's getting more probes, he's getting more drones even after the cannon rush, and I mean, Bistork knows exactly how many bases Oreo wants to get up on right now. He is well aware of his position. Now it's all about the transition, which, as you see, is going to be Void Rays. Okay. I was expecting a bit of a quicker Twilight Council here, but you might as well get the Void Ray out to be a little bit more safe against Zerglings, I suppose.
Well, Stargate is the most natural transition from a cannon rush, from a forge first, so this does make a little sense. Oreo can already be assuming that this is on the way, as I quickly check, and he has not scattered this. He doesn't have an overlord across the map whatsoever. So we'll see if he opts to go for blind spores. The problem is that a player like Oreo, again, you don't want to make spores unless you have to, right? And most of the time you want to cut as many corners as possible to get out of a bad situation, which he's in. So I am a little bit concerned. Ideally he has enough queens to defend even without spores, but we'll see how much damage these Void Rays can get done.
Not a whole lot, I imagine, and Bistork does not need to right now, Light. I have the biggest grin on my face. That is 3 gateways and charge coming down. What I love to see coming out from Protoss players.
He's going for a charge.
+1 and he is safe.
Yeah, he's going for a charge all in. And the problem is this Void Ray has denied a lot of scouting, has denied a lot of overlords. Oreo needs to get in here. He needs to get in and count the gases.
He's not able to at the moment.
Yeah, exactly. His focuses are on dealing with the cannon rush still. He's going to be spending a lot of links here. He has his queens here as well to help secure this. But because he has no eyes on the charge all in, that could just be it.
He might even lose his queens if he's not careful. They are off creep. Okay, the queens live. Whew.
Oh boy. Meanwhile,
and the Void Ray's back.
Yeah, no spores here, so the Void Ray is free to deny all this mining. And again, this isn't even Bistork's final form. The gateways are finishing up. The charge lots are on the way, mate.
Yeah, Bistork wants Oreo to build spores right now. That's why he's being this aggressive with his Void Ray. Just a little bit more wasted resources pretty much coming out from Oreo. Bistork is coming in with every single one of his gateways, his zealots. He's been banking up minerals, and this is exactly why I charge. It's 3 seconds off, Light.
Yeah,
there are no links. He's making roaches.
Even without charge, honestly, this is enough. Immediately the third base gets evacuated. Oreo knows that he can't defend against this. He has to buy enough time to get as much army as he can if he even hopes to defend. But oh god, it's not looking likely. The base does go down, and another charge, another warping is happening. Oh god.
Maybe if Oreo gets a big... No, there are way too many zealots for that.
No, there are too many zealots, mate.
Way too many zealots. And this is the Bistork of old we were talking about,
Exactly. This is what we know. This is what we love. The queens are trying to focus on the Warp Prism, but even if they get the Warp Prism, there are just so many zealots on the ground. Regardless, the Warp Prism does go down, but the zealots kill all the queens, and now they are free to just run rampant in the main.
GG is called, and Bistork my god, is going to take that series in Bistork fashion. Really good defensive play coming out from him in game number 1. Even better aggressive play coming out from him here in the ace match. Bistork, he's turning out to be a very well-rounded player in the upcoming or in the recent weeks.
Yeah, I love this because this has been happening to a decent amount of Protoss players, where Protoss players who originally were incredibly aggressive have now been able to
use this.
Really nicely adopt the new like double void ray, like Skytoss, like more macro oriented style, and that has allowed them to become, as you said, more well-rounded. Players like Bistork, players like Starduck as well is a good example. Players in Latin America like Shakti, where again they were originally incredibly aggressive and weird and quirky, but they've just like embraced the Stargate play.
Just imagine the Stargate is like twiddling its fingers, like, yes, embrace me, children.
It's exactly. Jim's there as well.
Yes. The Stargate, the Void Racer, even getting Zerg players.
Yeah. Oh god, feels bad, man.
Feels bad. Now, of course, do not worry whatsoever, Oreo fans. We do have a double elimination bracket coming up today. So Oreo is right now going to be facing Long T. Is that correct? Long T's? Long TZ? Long TZ?
LTZ?
LTZ! Over in that lower bracket. It is the best of one. Anything can really happen, but yeah, that's... there is an extra chance here for our players, and Bistork gonna be waiting a little while for Mio Micah versus Stardust.